Hi, English 101 students. My name is Karen Reed. I'm library faculty at GCC. In a series of short videos, I am going to talk to you about the information cycle. I'm going to show you how to use library databases to retrieve information, which you can use in your upcoming papers. I'm going to demonstrate how the different types of information can support your papers in different ways. And then you're going to get a chance to search for information on your own. If you need help at any step along this process, just reach out to me at the library, and I will give you my contact information at the end of the video so that you can always get in touch with me if you're struggling with your research. For your evaluation paper assignment, which is coming up soon, you have to use, most of your resources have to be from the library databases. You can only use one open web resource. But don't panic, there is a lot of information in the library databases, and I'm going to show you how the different types of information can do different things for you. So we're going to get started by looking at the information cycle. We are looking at a graphic that was produced by I think it's the True Library in British Columbia, but I really liked how they laid out the information cycle, so I'm sharing it from one of their research guides. The information cycle is a term that refers to the way that information is produced and distributed, and also how information changes over time. It most of the time refers to current or newsworthy events, but it can also refer to other types of information. So in terms of current events, something happens in the world. The event takes place. And say, for example, that event is a terrorist attack. That's an unhappy example, but say a terrorist attack takes place. The day of that attack, there's going to be immediate coverage of the event. The event is still unfolding. It's probably chaotic, and not everything is known about the event the day that the event happens. But you're going to hear radio coverage, you're probably going to see TV coverage, and there will be updates on the internet as the event unfolds and as more is learned about the event. It's very instantaneous coverage, and things are not deeply analyzed at this point. As the week progresses, you're going to get more newspaper and news media coverage of the event. These are going to be more detailed and more organized instances of information. They're going to begin to explain why an event occurred and have more names of the people involved and potential motivations and things like that. Both of these two types of information usually come from journalists. On the internet, it might come from citizen journalists. In the weeks after the event occurs, you start to see magazine articles come out. Popular magazine articles are more detailed still, and they're longer articles. They begin to provide analysis, and they begin to discuss the impact of an event. These are also written by journalists, and the journalists might include interviews with or commentary by experts. And all of these first three types of information are written for a very general audience. Then we get into about 6 months after the event, we start to see scholarly journal articles being published. A year or more after the event, we see full-length books, and we see articles and reference works. And especially these items in the lower half of the information cycle are only found for free in the library databases. You can also find magazine and newspaper articles in library databases, but scholarly journal articles, books, and reference works, you're pretty much only going to find them for free in those library databases. So talking about these information types in more detail, scholarly journals provide comprehensive analysis. These are deep dives into an event's impact, and they might be analyzing the event's social impact, its psychological impact, maybe how it impacts the economy or the culture. These are written by experts for experts. So it is not written for a general audience. Usually the writers of scholarly journal articles are researchers with advanced degrees. They can be very difficult to read, and they go through a very careful editorial process. It's actually very difficult to get a peer-reviewed scholarly journal article published. It goes through a very intense examination process. Experts in the field look at the claims that are made in a scholarly journal article when it is submitted for publication. They make sure that it meets the standards of their field and that the conclusions that are drawn by the researchers make sense. Books also go through a long editorial process. It takes a while to publish a book, a full-length book, and this is why books don't come out until probably a year or more after the event takes place. Reference works are another type of book. Reference books really refer to things like specialized encyclopedias, specialized dictionaries, and handbooks. They're written usually by scholars or by specialists. And interestingly, reference works are for a more general audience. They tend to be overviews of a topic that gives you lots of background information and defined terms and things like that. But the difference between like a magazine article and a reference article is that the reference article has been through an editorial process of people who are experts in the field. Magazines usually have an editorial board as well, but remember, they're coming out at a much faster pace. Magazines are published usually on a monthly basis, and so they are not as in-depth as your reference works or your books. So we can find all of these information types in the library databases. When you're looking at scholarly journal articles and books and reference works, if you're looking for those things online, oftentimes you will run into a paywall. You won't be able to access the information for free. But when you use the library databases, because you've paid tuition to GCC, you have access to all of the information in the library databases. So in the next video, I'm going to show you an example of an evaluation paper that I would write, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to find a reference article, a book source, and either a magazine source or a scholarly journal source on that topic. So stay tuned for the next video and we will start looking at that. In the meantime, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm going to take you to the library website. And if you go under About the Library on the library website, and library faculty and staff, again, I'm Karen Reed, and there's my office information, my telephone, and my email address. Also, if you give your instructor a heads up that you need some help from the librarian, she will get you in touch with me. So I look forward to showing you how to search the databases in the next video.